Well, guys, Donald Trump came into office this second time, and he was promising us the world, right? But what has he delivered over this past 100 days? An addled old man living in his own delusion. I mean, Donald Trump came into office promising that he was going to get your prices down. He said he was going to get energy prices down, egg prices, your housing prices. But what he's delivered and said is so much uncertainty into our markets that we are seeing capital flight out of the United States like we've probably never seen it before. And it became clear over the weekend when he sat down with Kristen Welker that not only does he have absolutely no plan moving forward for what he wants to do with these tariffs or even bring prices down, but it also became clear that Donald Trump still has absolutely no idea what he is talking about. He can't even seem to comprehensively move through some of these ideas with any tact at all. Instead, like I'm saying, he looks like an addled old man living in his delusion. So let's go ahead and take a look at a few of these clips. We'll go ahead and start off with this one, where Kristen Welker is rightly asking, is this economy finally your economy? If you guys do appreciate my work, please do remember to subscribe.
You've been arguing all week that this is President Biden's economy. Is this now your economy, sir?
Well, I think certain aspects of it are. Costs are. I was able to get down the costs, but even that, it takes a while to get them down, but we got them down good. We lost $5 to $6 billion a day with Biden, $5 to $6 billion. And I've got that down to a great number right now in a record time. You know, we're talking about 100 days. But just think of what that is. $5 billion a day we're losing on trade. And we were very tough with China, as you know. We put 145% tariff on. Nobody's ever heard of such a thing.
Nobody's heard of such a thing, Donnie boy, because it's probably the most idiotic thing that a president could have done. Then he goes on to, what, make up Biden was losing us $5 to $6 billion per day. Like, he literally is just pulling this stuff out of thin air. It means absolutely nothing. He was asked whether or not this economy is his. You put on these tariffs, you took off the tariffs, you put them on again, you took them off again, you put them on, and then you paused them. Is this economy finally yours? Oh, well, maybe some of the parts of the economy are mine, but I'm bringing prices down. Prices are not down right now. We have seen gas prices. They went up a little bit. Then they came back down a little bit. They're about the same. Grocery prices are going up. And we haven't even seen the true impacts of the tariffs yet because we haven't given it enough time. And he keeps on going on again, off again, on again, off again, on again, off again. So that is only going to make prices rise as well, but he seems unwilling, or maybe he just has absolutely no idea that that is actually going to happen. But then listen to what he actually says. He's just saying the quiet part out loud at this point.
When does it become the Trump economy?
It partially is right now, and I really mean this. I think the good parts are the Trump economy, and the bad parts are the Biden economy, because he's done a terrible job. He did a terrible job on everything. From his auto pen, which I'm sure he knew nothing about some of the things he was supposedly signing, to immigration. You look at what happened with immigration, how bad it was.
The good parts are mine, guys. The bad parts, they're still Biden's. I mean, what a pathetic old man. You are supposed to be the president of the United States, and you want to claim credit for all the good stuff, but then don't want to claim any credit for the bad stuff, and instead you put Biden's name back in your mouth? I mean, you are the guy who is implementing these insane tariffs. You are the guy who is making prices go up. You are the guy who is putting so much uncertainty into the market that nobody wants to touch America with a 99-foot pole. Nobody wants to invest here because they don't know if Donald Trump's going to have a good or a bad day and whether or not he's going to wake up and change his mind about the next thing. I mean, Donald Trump is obliterating our economy right now. And I just think it's absolutely hilarious that he wants to go ahead and just say it's all Biden's fault for all the bad stuff, even though you really can't even point to any of the good stuff that he wants to claim credit for. It's just insane. He then goes on to say that, well, you know, these baby girls, they don't need 30 dolls. They only need 2.
Are you saying that your tariffs will cause some prices to go up?
No, I think the tariffs are going to be great for us because it's going to make us rich.
But you said some dolls are going to cost more. Isn't that an acknowledgement that some prices will go up?
I don't think a beautiful baby girl that's 11 years old needs to have $30. I think they can have $3 or $4 because what we were doing with China was just unbelievable. We had a trade deficit of hundreds of billions of dollars with China.
When you say they could have $3 instead of $30, are you saying
they don't need
Americans
$30.
could see empty store shelves?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying they don't need to have $30. They can have 3. They don't need to have 250 pencils. They can have 5.
But you're basically saying there could be some supply shortages because of the
we don't have to waste money on a trade deficit with China for things we don't need, for junk that we don't need.
You know what, Donald Trump? Fuck you. It is not your decision whether or not people want to choose from $30 or just $2. Do you want to turn us into a China-like economy where the president of the United States is going to start dictating what goes on in markets? Hasn't this been the criticism from Republicans for, what, decades now? Oh, you guys want a command and control economy. That is what Donald Trump is advocating for here. He's saying, oh, these American families, they don't need to pick from 30 or 40 different dolls. They only need to pick from 2. And I'm going to be the one who decides it. I mean, what a bunch of nonsense. The American people have every right to have $30 to choose from. That's why markets are supposed to dictate these things, right? If the American people don't want $30 to choose from, the market should be able to reflect that and adjust accordingly. What happened to free trade or free capitalism? What? So Donald Trump is now going to command how many choices you guys get at the toy store. Again, he is an addled old man. He has absolutely no idea what the hell he is talking about. And he's trying to spin up all these stories because he is impacting our economy so negatively that he's trying to climb himself out of that hole. He then goes on the attack against Kristen Welker when she mentions that some prices are actually going up.
Prices are already going up on some popular items. Tires, strollers.
This is such a dishonest interview already. Prices are down on groceries. Prices are down for oil. Prices are down for all energy. Prices are down at tremendous numbers for gasoline. And let me tell you, when you have the big thing, what he did, he spent like a stupid person, which he was, but he spent like a very stupid person. And that was bad for inflation. But what really killed us with inflation was the price of energy. It went up to $3.90, even $4, and in California, $5 and $6, right? Okay. I have it down to $1.98 in many states right now.
Yeah, there's no place in the United States that anybody could find where gas was actually $1.98 right now. Like we just said, gas has been hovering around that $3.15 mark, somewhere right in that ballpark. It went up a little bit in his second month, then it came back down. But he's just lying here. And I find it absolutely pathetic that he wants to attack Kristen Welker for pointing out that there are actually prices out there that are going up due to his economic incompetence. I mean, who looks at this guy and says, oh, yeah, this is a strong leader. This is a guy who takes accountability for his shortcomings. How do you look at this guy and not think that he is a pathetic man-child who is unwilling to take any criticism whatsoever? I mean, it is very clear. You can draw a straight line from Donald Trump's tariffs to the uncertainty into our markets right now. And we're bracing for empty shelves because now small businesses can't even afford to get their products over here and turn around and sell them. I mean, I just don't know what else to say. Donald Trump just, again, is lying to you right here. Gas prices are not down. Grocery prices are not down. Maybe oil is down because that industry is expecting a recession. But that hasn't been reflected at the gas pumps. So again, he is just lying to you. So Kristen Welker actually goes on to press him and actually lists a few products that actually are increasing in price.
Tires, strollers, some clothing in the wake of your tariffs.
Excuse me, that's peanuts compared to energy. Energy is 60% of the cost.
But sir, you
energy is the big.
You campaigned on a promise to bring prices down on day
Well, I don't know. When
one.
you say strollers are going up, what kind of a thing? I'm saying that gasoline is going down. Gasoline is thousands of times more important than a stroller someplace.
But what do you say to Americans who say they voted for you because they want and they need relief right now?
And they're getting it.
Right now? What about those
even mortgage rates?
different items I just
mortgage
mentioned?
rates are going down, despite the fact that we have a stubborn Fed.
But you said even dolls could cost a couple bucks more.
Maybe they might, but you don't need to have, as I said, $35. You can have 2, 3, 4, and save a lot of money. We don't need to feed the beast.
Again, we live in a capitalist society, and this should not be Donald Trump's prerogative, whether or not we want 30 or $2 to choose from. And do you notice how he responds here? Oh, well, I don't care if the prices of strollers are going up. I don't care if the prices of those other goods are going up. I'm talking about energy, baby. Energy's so much more important. Well, tell that to the brand new mom who needs to go buy a new stroller, and now she has a 30% increase in cost there. I mean, he literally has not thought about any of this. And then the example that he brings up, it's just a lie. Like we just went over. Gasoline is right around the same cost. Those prices aren't falling right now. So even when he tries to take credit, he's still putting up an example that doesn't even exist. He is living in his own delusion. They then go on to discuss small businesses and how they are getting hurt by these tariffs already. Listen to how Trump responds.
So small businesses say they are being hurt by the Chinese tariffs, and some could be forced to shut down.
And many businesses are being helped.
Are you
Look at the
considering
automobile
tariff
business.
relief for small businesses?
Why do you always mention that, you pick up a couple of little businesses? What about the car business? They're going to make a fortune because of the tariffs. Do you know that the union, the head of the union, who was no fan of mine, Sean Fain, I guess his name is, right? He didn't endorse me. The Teamsters did. A lot of people did. A lot of unions did. But he didn't. He couldn't stand me. Now he's saying, wow, what's Trump's done for the automobile? I can't believe it. I assume he's going to probably now say the next thing he can say is, I endorse this guy. He's the greatest I've ever seen. He can't believe it's happened. He said, we've been waiting 40 years for somebody to do what Trump is doing. So why don't you mention the big car industry instead of mentioning somebody that's doing strollers?
Well, I'm just asking you about small businesses. Are there any discussions about giving any relief to small businesses?
They're not going to need it.
Okay.
They're going to make so much money.
Are these tariffs?
If you build your product here. Remember, there are no tariffs if you build your product here. It's very easy.
Again, how do you look at this guy and not think that this is a pathetic old man who just requires the affirmation of others? I mean, the question was not harsh. Well, why don't you ask the question in a different way? Why don't you talk about the car industry who's going to benefit so greatly from my tariffs? Why did you talk about that? Why don't you talk about what a good job I'm doing? Because this is how reporting is supposed to happen, right? News agencies are supposed to hold the power accountable. So the question should be somewhat adversarial. They're probing the excesses of your ideas or the bad parts of your ideas or your implementations. But Donald Trump just cannot handle that. And again, he goes back to the strollers. I don't care about strollers. Why don't you talk about the car industry? Well, cars are going to become increasingly more expensive because of these tariffs. So what is he even talking about there? I mean, the consumer is going to suffer here. And again, he just has no idea how these tariffs work. Again, it is the company who imports the good who pays that tariff, and then they turn around and pass that cost onto the consumer. He still seems to have no understanding that that is actually the case. I mean, it is just absolutely pathetic. He is a pathetic old man. And then he is asked, well, do you think a recession would be okay for the short term?
Some people on Wall Street say that we're going to have the greatest economy in history. Why don't you talk about them? Because some people on Wall Street say this is the greatest thing that ever happened.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at, though. It's the same question.
Yeah, there are many people on Wall Street say this is going to be the greatest windfall ever happened.
And that's my question,
Remember
the
this.
long term.
Yeah.
Is it okay in the short term to have a
Remember
recession?
this. Look, everything's okay. What we are, I said, this is a transition period. I think we're going to do fantastically.
Could you imagine, for just 1 second, if Biden said, Yeah, recession, no big deal. No big deal in the short term, guys. You guys just need to suffer through it. No, you just a little bit of pain for that economic gain down the line. Just imagine if Biden said that. I mean, Republicans would be calling for his impeachment. I mean, I don't think there's any question about that. This should be concerning to you guys. The President of the United States clearly has no plan going forward. Like we've talked about, he's going on again, off again, on again, off again, on again, off again with tariffs. He seems to have no strategy as to how he's going to work out any of these trade deals. He still has no idea how tariffs work, how trade deficits work. He doesn't seem to understand that you just heard him here say, well, if these small businesses build their products here in the United States, well, then they're going to be fine. Well, that's just not how our supply chains work. Many small businesses import goods so they can use those goods to build something of higher value and then turn around and sell that. So you've got a ton of small businesses right here in the good old US of A who build all of their products here, but is going to get walloped by these tariffs because they import their products that they start with. I mean, Donald Trump seems to have no understanding of any of this, any of this. And then he goes out and says, yeah, I don't care if there's a recession. It's not going it's going to only be short term, guys. Is this what he promised on the campaign trail? When is MAGA going to wake up and realize that they have been hoodwinked? I mean, he promised to lower prices on day one, but now they've all bought into this MAGA propaganda that, we just need to have this short-term pain for long-term gain. But nobody's been able to actually demonstrate how that is actually going to work. And all economists, basically all economists, before these tariffs were even discussed or even put in place, they were saying that they were going to be devastating the economy, and Donald Trump went forward with them anyway because he is an adult old man living in his own delusion. So, I don't know, guys. We are only a little over 100 days in, and which means we've got over 1,300 days to go of this, mango menace who just doesn't seem to be able to put together a coherent thought. I mean, every time we hear him now, there's no new thought. There's no independent thinking. There's no, what is the word? There's no complexity to the things that he is discussing. It's really quite something. I mean, this was the criticism about Biden for, his whole 4 years? But I would argue that Trump is a bit more degraded, and maybe Biden sounded worse than Trump might sound, but Trump clearly cannot work through any of these problems at all. It's an absolute sight to behold. And I think it's only going to get worse as time goes on. So that was the economy part of this interview. It was over an hour long. We're going to go ahead and do another piece on some of the other wild things that he said during this interview. But I do think it's important to realize that Donald Trump hasn't thought about any of this stuff. He's not concerned about small businesses. He doesn't care if these tariffs hurt your business or your family. He doesn't care if you have less products to choose from because he wanted to go ahead and implement these tariffs. Donald Trump does not care about you. And I think it would behoove everybody to remember that as we move forward and evaluate him based on that piece of information. So I will leave it there for now, guys. If you guys got anything out of this video, please do remember to smash that like button and subscribe. Maybe share with a friend or two. I'd very much appreciate that. We are trying to build something here on the left that adequately pushes back against the right-wing media ecosystem that'll just spin this type of interview in Donald Trump's favor without any question at all. So if you do like what I do here, please do remember to hit that subscribe button. It is free. And if you guys want to see another Republican getting torn to shreds at his very own town hall, go ahead and watch that video on the screen now. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on the next one.